Good evening and namaskar. We have another very interesting topic to apply our minds to this evening. Though it looks very simple, it actually has great depths to it. The known and the unknown. Usually, this whole world is excited about gathering knowledge. Don't you see parents being very proud when their sons or daughters go to esteemed universities of the world? Other day, a mother was so proud. My daughter is studying public policy in University of Michigan, USA. Some time back, another father was so proud. My son is pursuing aeronautical engineering in England and in various places in our own country. There are great places. You know the spurt of universities in India. When I did engineering in 1970s, the entire Karnataka had 10 engineering colleges. Today, Bangalore city itself, within 50 kilometers radius, has more than 100 engineering colleges. Probably the whole Karnataka state has 250 or 300. So knowledge, degrees, qualification, or leave aside university knowledge, in this world, you and I, even in an informal manner, feel proud, feel puffed up if we know some subject. We put our hand on our chest and say, I know so much about so and so, such and so on. Without dragging it too long, I have a tendency to go on and on with a diversion. Sorry. I would at this moment suggest, or rather say, that when it comes to the quest of freedom, how can you and I be free? How can you and I be free of sorrow, free of any burden, free of something bothering us inside us? How you and I could live a peaceful life? All this knowledge is of no use. In fact, there is a wonderful expression in Viveka Chudamani of presumably Shankaracharya. All this knowledge, including scriptural knowledge, he says, bhuktaye natu muktaye. That means it is all for bhukti. You will get good food. There will be people who honor you, respect you, and in the Indian tradition, many will fall at your feet, bow down before you. All that is bhukti, bhojana, bhoga. And Shankara says, bhuktaye for bhukti, natu muktaye, not for liberation. I do not hesitate to say, in spite of apparent contradictions or differences between them, actually on a deeper level, Shankara, Buddha, Krishnaji, they walk hand in hand. However, without making more reference to traditional sources, here is a statement by Krishnaji. He says, to inquire, to pay full attention, there must be the emptiness of the known. Oh my God. This emptiness of the known is scary to most of us, especially to speakers and writers like me. because we burn the midnight oil, we put aside even our yoga and pranayama and daily walk to read yet another book and to write yet another article. It has become an addiction with us. Let me make a selected confession. In order to deliver a half an hour talk on the known and the unknown, I would put aside the morning Surya Namaskar and check, oh, what is said about this topic. Anyway, so in that sense, it is scary when J. Krishnamurti comes along and says, empty yourself of all the known. As you know, one collection of his talks or writings has been famous, has been very well known. Freedom from the known. Freedom from the known. Generally, we talk about freedom of the unknown or fear of the unknown and how to be free of it. And in his incisive way, Krishnaji says, really, you are not afraid of the unknown, you are afraid of the known. Why should I be afraid of the known? Because this, since this thing called known is nothing but a bundle of conditionings, bundle of judgments, bundle of presuppositions, presumptions. I hear somebody's name as Khanna or Khan or Verma or Sharma. Immediately my mind rises with certain knowledge. Oh, I know Sharmas. I know these Reddys from Andhra Pradesh. Oh, they are like that. I know Varmas. I know Khannas and Khans, etc. And with certain conditioning popping up in our consciousness, we have either fear, oh, I'll keep away from these people, or sometimes we feel attracted to them. We feel drawn to them. Oh, really? That person is a Bhargava from New Delhi. Oh, I will go meet him. Because you knew some Bhargava who was kind and good to you, and you think every Bhargava under the sun is good. So, what is this problem with the known? And what actually is meant by the unknown? So, it's actually a delicate topic, and as I always confess, as I always admit, I don't claim to be knowing these terms 100% precisely. There may be some errors in the kind of meaning that I attach to them. So forgive me for that. So there is, in the domain of the known, there are a lot of emotions rising. And there is an adventurous proposition that be free from the known and be free from it instantaneously in a moment. Because there also you and I imagine, oh my God, if I knew that this known is going to be burdensome, I would not have collected all this knowledge over the years, heaped up so much information in my head. Now, I don't know how long it will take to undo, unlearn, set aside, we think. There comes again a lofty teaching with the freshness of a newly blossomed flower, and the teaching says, oh dear, to let go of the known should not take even a minute, instantly. That's what Harshadji often says, and I'm yet to understand fully that freedom should be at the beginning. I am traditionally conditioned. Work, 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 study, 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 teach, teach, teach. And one day something will happen. We think of freedom at the end of the journey. There is the idiom in English, right? There was light at the end of the tunnel. So we are fond of imagining a long tunnel, uh, and at the end of the tunnel there is light. But Krishnaji comes with an axe in his hand and puts it to the topic. There must be freedom at the beginning. That's very fascinating. But if you familiarize yourself with these sublime teachings, there is nothing so difficult. It is all like awakening. If you are in a big jungle in your dream, you don't say, my God, I must get out of this jungle, though it is a dream. This jungle being a very huge jungle, I need to get out of this jungle by walking and walking. Stop walking, stop talking, just to wake up from your dream. You know. So, like that, how wonderful it is to even reflect on such a statement. There must be emptiness of the known, because in the domain of the known, we are caught up in condemnation at times, in comparison at other times, in justifying yet other times. And in general, to sum up everything, we react. We react. We don't have the freshness to just watch. Before we realize what is happening, we are riding on the wave of a certain reaction, and behind reaction, there is the entity called the one who reacts. That is the self. The self in me might react in a certain way, the self in you might react in certain other way, and all of us react to the same situation in different ways. Why? Because all of us are carrying the burden of the known. So, this proposal, freedom from the known, is very, very interesting. First and last freedom. I have said this before too. In the early years when I got drawn to J. Krishnamurti, I used to be very fascinated by just the titles of those books. Flight of a Eagle, You Are the World, and so on. First and last freedom, freedom from the known, and so on. Of course, with certain exposure to Vedanta and certain exposure to Ramana Maharshi, these expressions were making sense to me, but I would be somewhat dumbfounded. I didn't know what actually they mean. Over the years, thanks to the association with all of you, thanks to the association, dialoguing, discussing, saying something, then hearing something. In Rajghat, I had so much of wonderful discussion with Shakti Kumar, who is here with us. Wow, how wonderful it was to sit down and share thoughts. All of them make a big difference. So, I have perhaps not said anything about the unknown. With regard to the unknown, I must confess, I am not sure. I hope Shaktiji will throw some light on it. But with my traditional conditioning, unknown, you know, brings to my mind ideas of avyakta. Vyakta means expressed, manifest, unknown, avyakta. But probably in the wonderful literature that's around Krishnaji, the word unknown may have some other meaning. But let me tell you, whatever I have understood and deeply appreciated is that the known is the culprit. The known ensnares us, traps us. Just other day I met with someone who is into some healing exercise. It's a technique, so take it with a pinch of salt. But he says by touching certain points upon the head and he recites some mantra, does some tantra, he says he helps the patient. I think in psychiatry, psychology, They don't use the word patient, perhaps they use the word subject. There is a subject on which the psychiatrist acts. So, without going long on it, there are some tantrics and mantrics, etc., in this world who touch you here, who touch you here, who murmur some sounds, and then they claim, it's up to you to believe in it or otherwise, they claim that from various points in your brain, certain hidden, suppressed emotions are released. So he had a long discussion with me, this gentleman, and in fact, he wanted to try it out with me. Can you believe? He said, Swamiji, lie down. I'm going to touch your head at different points. You seem to be a frustrated Swami. All your frustration, I will release all your frustration by touching various points on your head. I got more scared than ever before. I said, I admire your work, but I'm not going to lie down or. And in my mind, I said, though I am frustrated, I am in love with my frustration. Leave me alone. Bear with me for this somewhat irrelevant humor, but I think it's good for sometimes to have a little laughter. But coming back seriously, you and I can see the plain truth that this known has to be put in its proper place. It's good for us to know that such and such people like coffee, this uncle likes tea, that aunt likes sharbat, this person is allergic to. This morning I heard somebody is allergic to WhatsApp. I know her for some years and I was trying to send a WhatsApp message and it doesn't respond. That means there is no account. I said, how can such an educated Indian not be into WhatsApp? Then I checked with her husband. Is your wife not in WhatsApp? Then she says, she is highly allergic to WhatsApp. She is into Telegram. You want to send a message, please send to her Telegram. I am a member of Telegram also. That's another app. Then I sent a message on Telegram to her. I didn't get a reply, but I'm sure she got it. And so there is uh, the known generates all this. We have, I don't know how that word allergy came. Anyway, my point is the challenge of being free from the known is mighty because even about awareness and attention and observation and watching, etc., you and I, especially scholars like me who have a weakness for language, are highly likely to gain knowledge about awareness. It seems two professors were discussing awareness very intensely. This is quoted or cited by Krishnaji himself. They were on a car ride. 1 hour they rode or drove in a car. The chauffeur, driver was driving, and at the end of it, they concluded somehow, they completed their discussion on awareness, and then the driver said to them with a chuckle, ah, were you two knowledgeable professors, were you two aware that our car had hit a cow on the way? They both were not aware. Oh, really? So they were talking and talking about awareness. So that's how the whole thing becomes a mighty challenge because the seduction, this knowledge is so seductive. It seduces us into a respectable trap. The moment people like us give a lecture on freedom from the known, the fact that I know so much about the known makes me attached. Oh, that's how, or in many more ways, dear friends, the known is a vast network and the known needs to be negated. That negation is not by indulging more in some more knowledge. Even in traditional Vedanta learning, etc., we get caught in memorizing shlokas and mantras, remembering very difficult definitions, and taking pleasure in being more knowledgeable about this text, that text. Two Vedantins meet, and one says to the other, have you studied Brahadaranyaka Upanishad? The other one says, not yet. I know some 7 or 8 other Upanishads, not Brahadaranyaka. Brahat means big, you know. And the first one says, if you have not studied Brahadaranyaka Upanishad, you have not made a beginning in Vedanta. That way, there is pride about, I have read the big book, you have read all small stuff. So, pride, inferiority complex, fear, jealousy, all of them sometimes, not always. We don't want to be very negative in this issue. Sometimes, in fact, very often, this knowledge generates new impediments to the quest of freedom rather than removing these obstacles or impediments. Therefore, it's in that context that we want to talk about or talk to each other really uh, about this known and the unknown. Needless to say, as there is not just knowledge about attention, but as there is attention in us, being attentive is different from being knowledgeable about attention. That is obvious. As there is a greater quality of attention, as there is true negation, as there is letting go, somebody praises us and we feel good. Can we that instant itself notice how it gave a kick to us when somebody praised us and seeing the conditioning therein, can we gently let go of that pride? Another day, somebody makes a mocking statement at us. Somebody says, I pity you. I sympathize with you. You have not achieved anything in life. Somebody says that can hurt us, that can pierce into our heart. It seems there is a joke, if you permit me a joke. Somebody went somewhere expecting to be honored, treated well, received well, talked to in a nice way. But in that get together, several people made a little bit insulting comment about him. And he got very angry. He said, I didn't come here to get insulted. Then another guy said, oh, really? Where do you go normally? I didn't come here to get insulted. So where do you go normally to get insulted? So that's a twist in the language. So let go. Let us not imagine negation of the known is some out of the way phenomenon or out of the way exercise. It is not even pretending to be humble. When you pretend to be humble, whatever little humility you had also goes away. It is, I would perhaps prefer to say, an exercise in, you know, exercise of intelligence. If you and I are truly intelligent, why do we embrace pride? Because somebody praised us. A thought of pride may arise, but let's not hug it. And somebody criticizes us, certain pain may arise in us. We may not feel good about it. But why should we embrace it? Let it go. Let go of it. That's the better expression. Let grow, let grow, let go, let go. That's called negation. Therefore, intelligence, which is, I suppose, a constant companion of attention. Where there is true attention, there is intelligence. Where there is intelligence, there is compassion. If somebody mocks at us, we won't hate him if we are intelligent. If there is attention, we rather sympathize. We have compassion for her or him. We perhaps remember how we also used to be so judgmental at one time, haughty. We also used to label people. And this fellow is going through that now. Okay, no problem. Hope she will come out of it very soon. Without all these words, there is a certain flow of compassion, intelligence. Maybe some other time we should take that topic, or I would like to hear one of you talk on it. There is a certain saying by Krishnaji, there is no intelligence without compassion. Long back when I heard, I wondered, what's the connection between intelligence and compassion? But Krishnamurti said, there is no intelligence without compassion. If you and I claim, "Ah, we are intelligent people, but we don't care for people suffering or our own suffering, you know, then that is no intelligence at all. Therefore, friends, I have, as always, digressed half the time, been on the point half the time. Please bear with me. And this is all I may share with you today. I'm on a sort of journey, physical journey. I will stay with all of you for another 15-20 minutes. Kindly excuse me. I will then get into a car and get going. So maybe in the car I can hear a little more on my mobile. Let's see. But another 15 to 20 minutes. I very much be with you. Uh, thank you. Over to others.
Harshad sir.
Yes. Are you able to hear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Swamiji. This topic, the known and the unknown, it seems to me, as you said, that we gather a lot of knowledge when we go to school, university, and reading many books, and we gather a lot of knowledge. And that knowledge which we have, I feel, is just a drop in the ocean of unknown. Because we don't know, we are living on the planet Earth, which is a very, very minor planet of a minor star called Sun. There are billions of stars in the universe, and we don't know how it all came into existence. What was the purpose? Why life came into existence? And how this evolution, who planned this evolution, and this very complicated, uh, our body and the brain, it's not our work. It is some kind of maybe intelligence which is outside of human mind, maybe has created the whole universe. And we know very little even about the earth itself, because there are many, many places where human beings have not explored, under the sea or on the mountains, a different kind of life existing. So, our knowledge, though we think that we have gathered a lot of knowledge, but we know very little. It is just a drop in the ocean of the unknown. And um, about this knowledge, which makes us proud. And so, similarly, there was one Pandit who had studied many scriptures, and he heard the reputation of poet Kabir, and he wanted to meet Kabir and to have a dialogue, a discussion, shastras with Kabir. So he went in a cart carrying many, many books, and when he came close to where Kabir was staying, he met Kabir's daughter. And this Pandit, he asked Kabir's daughter, where is Kabir's house? And the daughter said, Kabir lives on a steep hill, which is very, very slippery. And how will you go there with all that burden of knowledge, the many books you are carrying? So, what I'm saying that you go to a person like Kabir, all that knowledge which you have gathered is meaningless because Kabir lives in the present moment, fresh living. And something is coming to the mind of Kabir, and he doesn't know from where it comes. Very beautiful poems coming, and he's speaking about it. He doesn't even want to publish what he has, but his disciples used to write down what Kabir has said, and that is how we come to know about Kabir. Because people like Kabir, Krishnamurti, they are living with freshness. They don't speaking from the knowledge which they have gathered, because knowledge, there is nothing new in that. There is no freshness. And to be free from that knowledge, uh, to be free from the knowledge is not easy. Of course, a part of the knowledge which we need for our daily survival, but the psychological knowledge which we have gathered about people, like if somebody has insulted you and you remember it, and the next time you see that person, and that knowledge, that feeling of hurt comes, and you try to avoid, so it creates a problem in relationship, this psychological knowledge. And so Krishnamurti is always asking, is it possible to be free from that psychological knowledge, whether somebody has praised us or somebody has criticized us, and that doesn't interfere when we meet again the same person. And in that there is a great beauty. And uh, how can this happen in our life? Is it really possible to be free from those memories, psychological memories, which are of no use in living with freshness, newness? So I think it is possible only if we are very passionately interested in looking inward instead of gathering the knowledge of what Krishnamurti has said, or what Osho or Kabir and other Buddha, all these people have said beautiful things. But even that knowledge of Krishnamurti can prevent us in looking at our own mind with freshness. So it requires, maybe initially, one needs to be alone in a quiet place, and then turning the attention inward and looking at the thoughts, how they are arising. So, to observe that thoughts arising clearly, we need a freedom to watch. And that is why Krishnaji says freedom is at the beginning. Because if you are not in the state of attention, you cannot observe thoughts arising. You get involved into more and more thinking. So thinking is like sinking in the mud. It creates more and more problems. So only when we are deeply passionate and without any motivation to look inward, just because we are very curious, as I was when I, after reading the first book of Krishnamurti, when he said that this me, which is I, me, it comes from thinking, and that this me is the source of all our problems, fear, anger, jealousy, conflict in relationship. Everything is arising from thinking. So a person would be want to verify what Krishnamurti is saying, one has to be very, very attentive, very quiet, and looking inward and trying to pick up the beginning of a thought. And it requires energy also. So when a person does that, sometimes the mind stops by itself and there is no thinking coming, thought stops. At that time, some people get frightened of that silence, where it is like a psychological death. That is the state of unknown. And that is why this unknown is very frightening. People are not interested in silence, unknown. We feel comfortable with the known because we can manipulate things, but unknown is very frightening. Actually, it is, as Krishnaji says, it unknown we don't know. So we cannot be frightened of the unknown, but this giving up of the known, what we have gathered, all that knowledge, when it ends in the silence, then it can be very frightening for many, many people. And so they don't like to be in that state. So they escape from that silence and read more and more, gather more and more knowledge. But that doesn't help. So only when we don't get frightened of this silence, when it comes, then that is the freedom. When the mind is purely aware, no thinking, and in that state, one can look at the tree or the human being without any knowledge. That is what Vedanta is also, end of knowledge, which Krishnamurti, freedom from the known, is all the whole purpose of philosophy, spirituality, is to be free, free from all the psychological problems, suffering, which is making our life unhappy and a very stale life. So only when we get uh, a glimpse of that freedom, when the mind is free, no thinking, no feeling, a pure awareness, and see the beauty of it, then I think that is the first step, and that may be the last step, because when that happens, that sense of freedom, then we see the beauty of it, and then again we would like to look inward without any motivation. And whenever we get some time to be alone, we will be learning in a direct way, not by reading Krishnamurti and or Vedanta and then thinking about it. That is intellectual knowledge. That knowledge doesn't help. Actually, when somebody uh, criticizes you and the anger arises, so at that time, what a person is not aware, he will get carried away by the anger, though he may know a lot about the anger, phenomenon of anger, by reading many books. So here there is a challenge which Krishnaji is posing, that is it possible to live with ongoing, effortless, motiveless awareness? So without that, we cannot uh, really feel what Krishnaji means by love or beauty or intelligence, because that intelligence or compassion not in the field of thinking and feeling. And our life is mostly lived with feeling, feeling of attachment, and that attachment which we call love. And that attachment, when it is broken, then we feel lost. So attachment creates fear of losing the person, it creates jealousy, it creates anger when the person doesn't do what you want him or her to do. So love is the difference, and that is a real love and freedom and compassion and intelligence. They are different words for the same state of pure awareness where this I, the self, doesn't exist. And that is why Krishnaji says love is when the self is not. So when the self is not, there is a pure awareness. And that awareness, if any problem arises, it can be seen very clearly. And there is an instant freedom. If anger is arising, and this awareness, when it looks at the anger dissolves. And that is why, in the light of awareness, all problems created by thinking and feeling are dissolved. So, this is the real beauty of spiritual teachings, whether it is of Kabir or Krishnamurti or Buddha or Vedanta. They are all hinting at the state in which the self is not there, there is freshness, no knowledge interfering in looking, learning, listening. So, okay, I've said enough thing right now. Thank you.
Shakti ji.
Yes, I just wanted to say that this, although Krishnamurti speaks about freedom from the known, and also he mentions unknown, what I feel he is pointing towards when he says unknown is a state of not knowing. We may not know what is the freedom from known, but we all know that state of not knowing. When, for example, Krishnamurti says, when you look at something which you like and there is sensation, and then thought arises. Can there be, a gap between the sensation and thought arising? So that gap is there. That gap gives us a glimpse of a state of not knowing. When we are watching thoughts, one thought comes, and then before the next comes, there may be a gap. So in these small incidents, we can somehow see that it is possible to be in a state of not knowing. Whether that can be extended or not, that we don't know. But it reminds me of in Gita there comes Nakinchidapi Chintayet. It reminds me of that. Thank you, sir.
Dinesh ji.
Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, earlier speakers. It was a good discussion. I would also like to express my own views on this. First of all, what JK says. Let us brief, because there are so many speakers. The total consciousness is the known. It's whatever you see, whatever you can perceive, that is known. And to pay total attention, there must be freedom from the known, which means there must be no center from which there is attention. The center is known. The center that censors, that condemns, judges, and evaluates. From that center you love, from that center you look, observe, attend, and therefore it is no attention or observation. It is partial. Thinking is the result of memory stored up in the brain, and the brain can only act in the field of knowledge, always within the field of known. In known, there is so much security for us. So basically, why there is a known? Why the brain, which we can say it's like a hardware, why does it keep the memories? It keeps the memories for the security. So uh, at one place, JK is not denying that. JK is not saying that it should not be there. It is of use to us. That's what he says. In known, there is so much security for us. So there can be attention only in a state of negation. Only the negative mind can attend. Now, what is negation? According to me, negation is not the opposite polarity of this known. Negation means, or say we say positive and negative. It is not the opposite polarity. Although the known world is in the polarities, is moving in the polarities, and various in between shades. But this negative mind doesn't mean the opposite polarity of say positive. If positive is there, then it is not negativity. It is basically one. There is a wisdom which say, and there is no horizon of, or there is no emergence of any issue of that particularly. So if there is no issue, such issue, any issue which has got polarities, if that doesn't arise, then it can be, then the mind can be said to be in a state of negation. That's what I say. When there is a complete ending of everything, one has known, the only being free from the known, can you enter into the unknown. You don't have to enter, it comes to you. Your mind, then being free from the known, understand the unknowable. Understand the unknowable. Now it is very interesting. We say that the past memory should not be there. But if we see the past memory, what is problematic thing in the memory? Memory has got senses data, memory has got intellectual data, memory has got emotions and feelings. So security is directly linked to emotions and feelings. You can very well see that suppose I am having some technical data, I can very easily keep it aside. Suppose somebody comes to me, I can very easily keep that data or that thing aside and talk to him. So it is very easy to keep aside this intellectual data. But what about feelings and emotions? Feelings and emotions is that trap which makes you, which doesn't allow you to be free. So we have to see whatever what we have to see in the meditation or in this contemplation. Basically, what are the feelings and what are the emotions locked? Now, when we say emotions and feelings locked, these are very personal and these are individual. So individual has to see. You may use choiceless awareness or whatever you want to use, the tool, or we can say, or just the wisdom, or simple observation, or whatever suits to you, your personality, individuality. But that is to be, that is we can see that is the main problem. Now, when a man goes to the wisdom level, what happens? You see that these feelings and these emotions are risen because of any stimulus. So once he understands the total nature of stimulus, total known, then probably these emotions and feelings, they remain in control. First of all, I would say, and then they got completely negated. There is there is absence of that, I would say. It is there, but it doesn't arise. That's what I want to say. Further, what he says, a changing mind, a changing brain is always moving from the known to the known. A religious mind is always freeing itself from the known so that it is experiencing the unknown. The unknown is out of time, the known is in the time. If you have gone very deeply into it, you will see that religious mind is not slave to the time. So we can say that this is that dimension which is beyond thought and beyond thought and beyond this your normal plane, which is not slave to the time. So it comes when known is gets diluted, or your ego is get diluted, or your all hurdles becomes less. So what he says, what name he gives to it? We can say that there is no name, but he just has given the pointer. Immeasurable, which has no beginning and no end. Which has no beginning and no end. Interestingly, in tradition, the Shiv Tattva has also given the same definition. You will see. The unnameable, the timeless, the eternal, the supreme. The mind must be entirely and deeply silent for this. This silence must be an unknown to the mind. As the timeless for it, for if the mind experiences the silence, then there is the experiencer. Hello. Are you able to hear me? There was some disturbance.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I am not able to see others. Yes, now I am able to see. So, if the mind can, then this, for if the mind experiences the silence, then there is experiencer, who is the result of past experiences, who is cognizant of a past silence. The mind can never experience the new, and so the mind must be utterly still. The mind can be still only when it is not experiencing, that is, when it is not terming, naming, recording, or stored up in the memory, when the recording or storing up in the memory, when the whole consciousness is silent and tranquil, free from all the becoming, which is spontaneity, then only does the immeasurable come into being. So what actually, in my view, he wants to say, that if the I is not there, or the self is not there, or it is not interfering at all. He has given the examples also of seeing a mountain and all that, and its enormity makes you still. So in such a stage, or in such a time, you can say that mind can just go out of that plane and can touch the immeasurable, or whatever that plane is. But he also says that you don't have to wait. It will automatically comes to you if the mind is free. So one has to understand that this unknown plane is already there. It is already guiding you, in my views. We can say that it has got three things. One is still, or we can say that it is not taking any part in this manifested world or this thing. So it is very still, or it is a static part. Then there is another moving part, which moves or on the boundary of manifestation. It is ready for the manifestation, we can say. It is unknown to us right now, but it will be coming into known very shortly. So that is another thing. And that thing, I would say this word which JK has used as unknowable. So I would like to keep this word in between, known and unknown. One portion unknown will always remain unknown because the human race has got only five senses. Beyond that, it cannot judge, or it cannot get the experience and all that. So it has got so that will remain always unknown. Another thing is there, which is right now it is unknown, but it will come into manifestation when there is some stimulus and some reaction takes place at our end. Then automatically the situation changes and we can experience that thing. So that is unknowable, I would say. And then there is a known. So again, this known will come to a individual only. So it doesn't mean that whole knowledge of unknown will come to this individual. Say for example, this also happens
Dinesh,
right now.
Dinesh, please be brief.
Okay. Only one line or two lines. Suppose there is a medical student and there is an engineering student. So engineering student doesn't have the knowledge of this medical line, and medical student doesn't have the knowledge of engineering line. So for one it is known, for other it is unknown. So we have to understand total structure of this whole game. And if we understand, then there may be wisdom, and then from that wisdom we can see what happens or what we can gain. Thank you.
Pradeep ji.
Yes. Good evening, friends. A very interesting topic. Very interesting. In the sense, what I see, Shakti ji gave a very good point that unknown is the state of not knowing. In a way, yes, it appealed to me, but then it becomes subjective. And it may be subjective because observer is always there. Conditioned self-observer is always there. So it becomes subjective from individual to individual. And what without knowledge, we are what we are speaking and what we are living seems to be very different. In the sense, you see, without knowledge, we cannot speak for 20 minutes. We cannot speak for so long without knowledge. If somebody wants me to write few pages, a few lines about myself, you will hardly write 4, 5, 6, 10 lines. So this is one thing. And then so we are talking about freedom from the known, freedom from knowledge, freedom from yesterday, freedom from time, freedom from that. But when we are obsessed with words, when we can talk as words for so long, it cannot be without knowledge as we consider that as knowledge. So that is one point I wanted. Then known and then unknown. These are two words used since eternity, almost long back, historically. It has been used. And scientifically, you can say beyond Freud, it has been used, unknown, and all these things. So, for me, we are living in an unknown world, or I might say unknowable world, because it is changing. Every time, everything is changing, including the observer, which is supposed to be the most important thing, because observer makes the results, turn the results accordingly, even modern science is taught. So, state of the observer is very important. Then everybody has talked about what we call known is memory stored in the brain. And that means our likes, dislikes, experiences, all those things that come in that. And at times, even abstractions. Abstractions, the things you don't know, you imagine yourself as something, as image, we carry all our image. That itself is enough to not to see anything, not to be able to see or listen. So this we have to be careful about these 2-3 things: naming and actually how we are living and what are we doing when we are, whether somebody is waiting there for so long and we cannot see that. So this is our state. This is what we are living with our load of knowledge. I'm sorry because this sounds little hurting, but this is what I see. All this, we talk of intelligence, but are we intelligent to see that the other friend is waiting? You see, we live in contradictions. That is enough for me to say. I don't want to say more than this thing. So we are all using knowledge. We are using words. We are obsessed with words. We love words, and we go on using them, thinking that something will happen. We don't know about the next moment. This is the state of our knowing. Next moment, what will happen? Which mosquito will come? So this is what I see and live. Thank you very much, friends, giving me time.
Rajendran, sir.
Good evening. Thank you, Kamlesh. Just we always consider knowledge is power because that helps us to compare with other people and inflate our ego. And for the first time, when I heard Krishnamurthy only, he told freedom from the known, freedom from the knowledge, and the fear of the unknown. So just I am asking myself whether knowledge creates fear or removes fear. Sometimes both the statements are true. So knowledge, just like a light, fear is a field of darkness. So knowledge is a light that brings light into the darkness, and the fear is vanished. Sometimes. So we are anxious and fearful of, for example, attending an event to give a talk. So we gather a lot of information, words to base our dialogue. So that knowledge, so that removes the fear, and we go to deliver a wonderful speech. I'm giving you just an example. At the same time, knowledge also creates fear. It happens, for example, in a village or suburban places. A man new to that place, he goes for walking in the evening after sunset around a big isolated tank or lake for an hour or so, sometimes regularly. And one day his neighbor asked him, where you are going for a walk? He told that I am going to that lake. No, don't go to the place after sunset because some men hanged some time back, so there is some ghost is roaming there. So next time when this man goes there after sunset, so he's scared. So knowledge this information knowledge brings also fear? This is very, very tricky question. And for example, another example is disease and symptoms. For every disease, the doctor says there are some 10 symptoms are there for that disease. If we go through all the symptoms, that we will find we will be having more than 5 symptoms ourselves. So that creates fear. Most of the symptoms we will be having. When we went to the doctor and asking, and he's telling we conduct some test, he says, no, don't worry, you don't have the disease. So the information knowledge, it also brings fear. And another interesting thing is what Harshad Bhai has told, that is unknown unknowns. See, actually it is called a Johari window in 1955, developed by some psychologist. It is a matrix. This was popularized by Donald Rumsfeld, the then US Defense Secretary, in 2002 in a press briefing. So the Johari window, what is that? That is one square divided into 4 equal parts. It is named for equal parts as known and unknown. See, known and unknown, it is adjective. So first quadrant is known, unknown. In the top first, and the top second, it is unknown, known. See, known, unknown. So we know these things we don't know. Second is unknown knowns. We know something, but we are not aware of that. And the third is known knowns. We know that, certainly that we know these things. And the fourth quadrant, that is what Harshad Bhai told, unknown unknowns. See, unknown, that is adjective, unknown answers, we don't know. See, this fear of not knowing. See, unknown itself is fearful. And the unknown that we don't know, that we don't know. That is very scary. If knowledge is a ocean, and what we can call this unknown? We don't know that we don't know. We don't know the things which were also not known. We don't know these things. Very difficult to explain. Unknowns. That is very, very scary. And that is what Harshad Bhai talked about it. The unknown unknowns. That is, if we know certain that we don't know, no unknowns is easy. The first, if we add up all the first 3 quadrants, and the fourth quadrant, unknown is very huge and gigantic when compared to the sum of all the first 3 quarters. See, that is a very scary thing. Thank you.
Prasad sir.
Namaste, sir. My computer has been giving some trouble. I hope it will not stop me in between. But anyway, I'm not going to be take very long time. There is nothing really complicated about this topic. For me, it is quite simple and straight. Krishnaji says, we are all conditioned human beings. We are conditioned by the known. We are not conditioned by the unknown. Unknown doesn't condition us. It is the known that conditions us. We are all conditioned in our different ways, depending upon our background, our upbringing, our education, all those things. Then the known is a thought, and a thought is not always bad. It is useful. We have to realize when it is useful and when it is not, when it is useless. Thought can be both. And how to free ourselves from the known? That is the question. That is the problem for all of us. For me, You cannot free yourself from thought, that is from your conditioning, from the known, by examining each thought. There is an endless process. You cannot approach it that way. That is by vivisecting each thought, or by putting each thought on the table and then examining it. You cannot do that. That's an endless process. So what else? You have to understand. Firstly, you have to free yourself from tradition. Because Krishnaji says we are all second-hand human beings. We are second-hand human beings because we keep on repeating what X said, Y said, or Krishnaji said. So you have to understand that your brain is made up of all these things, these elements of tradition, faith, belief, ideologies, opinions, all these things. You have to understand their significance or lack of significance. We have to understand that. And once we understand, then they won't crowd your brain. It is, understanding is the key. I think that is intelligence, to see the role of all these things. Your knowledge, your tradition, your belief, your entertainment, the entire world of entertainment is the known. And we are caught in this known. So I don't want to expatiate on this. The point is made that we have to understand, then you become free. And you have to become free at the beginning. Freedom is at the beginning. That is not after years of reading Krishnamurti, but when you understand Krishnamurti, then immediately at the beginning itself, you become free from everything. And when you become free from everything, then the unknown, you have fear of the known and fear of the unknown. Fear of the known is fear of losing the known. At the time of death, you lose the known. That is your fear. Not that otherwise you are afraid of death. Fear of the known is fear of losing the known. Fear of the unknown is really fear of what might happen. So, fear of the unknown is different. Fear of the known is simply that you will lose your attachments, your property, your possessions, all these things. You have to bid goodbye to the entire world. And that is the fear. To bid goodbye to this world, to go alone, as you have entered this world alone. Like that, you have to be prepared. These are things which you have to examine yourself and be ready to face. That is the thing. Then, I think it is said, for a medical student, engineering is unknown. For an engineering student, medicine is unknown. That is not how we look known and unknown. The entire literature of both engineering and medical are the known. See, I have never been to America. That doesn't mean America is the unknown. So many people have gone to America. So that is not how we look at known and unknown. So once you become free, and Swamiji has said, Bhuktaye, natu muktaye. See, all these degrees are for Bhuktaye, not for Muktaye. I think Krishnaji has not made a distinction between this and that. Even when you are working for your livelihood, you must have a meditative approach. So it is not, they are not two separate compartments. Bhuktaye and Muktaye, they are integrated in Krishnaji's approach. That is how I feel. Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Dakshina Murthy, sir.
Yeah. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good evening, friends. This is a very interesting topic, and already a number of people have expressed their opinions and their understanding. Here is one small passage from Krishnaji's talk in Bombay, just 2 sentences. I will just read that to make the point clear. Krishnaji is saying, the known can obviously never know the unknown. The known can obviously never know the unknown. It can know only what it has experienced, what it has been taught, what it has gathered. So can the mind see the truth of its own incapacity to know the unknown? What he's saying is, with the known, you can never know the unknown. There is something unknown. And before that, why should we know the unknown? If you are comfortable, you are happy in your own world, in your field of knowledge, there is no need to go beyond the field of knowledge, right? But that is not the case. We are suffering. There is so much of fear in us. There are so many psychological disorders in us. So much of suffering is there, and we are getting fed up with life as it is. So the human beings are trying to know something beyond the field of knowledge. That something beyond the field of knowledge is the unknown. It is outside the field of knowledge. So staying in a field of knowledge, you will never know the unknown. Like already Harshadji was also mentioning, some of the greater qualities like love, affection, then compassion and intelligence. They all those are outside the field of knowledge. Likewise, Krishnaji projected truth as unknown. Truth is outside the field of knowledge. So if you want to understand what truth is, you must go outside the field of knowledge, which means you have to leave the knowledge. Now, our Professor Krishna also gave a very nice example. He talks about the pole vaulter. The people do know the high jump and then pole vaulting. He compares the pole as knowledge and information. The pole vaulter needs the pole to reach the height, but to go to the other side, to cross the parallel bar there, he must leave the pole. Otherwise, it will become foul and he will never go to the side. Likewise, we have to have knowledge. It is necessary, but at one point in time, unless you leave the knowledge, you cannot enter the field outside the knowledge. That is the unknown. So the truth is the unknown, and unless you leave the knowledge, you will not touch base with the truth and love and compassion. So, if the mind can, and in our tradition also they say Vedanta. Veda means knowledge, and Anta means ending. So, ending of knowledge actually is a pointer to something which is beyond knowledge. There is a very beautiful dialogue between Swami Venkatesananda and Krishnaji in Sanan in 1980 or so, in which this was discussed very nicely. And Swamiji was telling that knowledge is very essential and all. Krishnaji says, at the end of that, when you have to leave the knowledge, what is the need for acquiring knowledge? Obviously, right? So these are some of the points. And when the mind has to learn only one thing at a deep level, that it is incapable of knowing the unknown. When the mind really realizes that thing, what happens? The mind stops. Is it not? When the mind stops, there is silence. In that silence, when the mind is not operating, field of knowledge is not operating, other faculties, the higher faculties, or the higher dimension, like love, compassion, and intelligence can operate. So the starting point is you should know very clearly that you can never know the unknown. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Pradeep sir,
Just
just
one.
brief comment, then Harshad sir will have to conclude.
Already time is up. But yeah, what I wanted to say was that not only known affects us, lot of human psyche is a very complex material. We know very superficially certain things. That what we call as knowledge is very, very superficial, upper crust only. But lot of unknown within the psyche is continuously affecting our this thing, mindset, and how do we see the world moment to moment. Our mind is always a duality, works in duality. So saying freedom from this, unless until you are free from likes and dislikes, good and bad and all those things, there is no chance of freedom. No chance of freedom. This is what I wanted to say, that unknown also affects us because it's beyond our senses. Right now, we are using very small part of our brain or mind. So a lot of unknown is affecting us. This is what I wanted to say. Thank you very much. Harshad bhai.
Harshad sir.
Yes. I like to say that let us look at a chair or a table. It is a matter, but outside the chair or the table, there is a space. So we can say that matter exists in the background of space. Space is everywhere. Matter is here and there. So similarly, noise exists in the background of silence. Noise may come and go, matter come and go, but the space remains. Similarly, noise come and go, but the silence remains. Similarly, thinking exists in the background of awareness. So thinking come and go, but the awareness is there. And time exists in the background of timeless, because time can come and go, psychological time. And so similarly, known exists in the background of unknown. So known is very limited and unknown is unlimited. So the limited exists in the background of unlimited. So they are all the time there, but this thinking is creating the disturbance. When there is no thinking, there is silence, there is awareness, there is a freshness, and that is what I think the real thing is to see thing without knowledge, without it's fresh looking, and that is what is very interesting, I think. So the known exists in the background of the unknown. That is my final statement. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Can I make
Time.
a last comment?
Yes, you can. You can.
Swamiji was telling about some healing experiences. I should say that one should be open to such ideas. And that is unknown basically to you. Why it has come to your life, or why such person has come to your life. We should accept the challenge and we should see openly. Then only we can learn about unknown. Otherwise, we will moving in the known only, or the same in the same field only. I am myself having experiences of since I am Reiki Grandmaster, I am having experiences of such thing, energy phenomena. So one should be very open and see, observe in the moment why this is happening, why some person has come to in contact with me. Then only we can find something in new, something fresh. Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thank
Time
you.
has come. Thanks
Yeah.
all for participation.
Thank you.